Well, had some calls this week. The hot takes didn't quite go as planned. Always full transparency. There's about three big plays that I really liked going into the day, and I gotta say, not great, not great at all. Look at these comments on the stage. There they are, bottom right hand corner. This is answers by guess. I'm guess. This is answers with guess. This is the halftime adjustments. We got a couple watchers. Please comment, say hello. Let me know who you are. First time here, 100th time here. It doesn't matter. We've been doing this 9 seasons. We're all family. So we got some stuff to talk about. We got week 5 to talk about. So let's get into it. The sooner we're done, the better. The Guest Gazette. This is the Bridges entry for us. First of things that he started this year. I'm going to get into it. This is the week 5 rundown. And if you're looking at that picture, I had a feeling I said against his old team. Now this is 2 weeks in a row. And what's up, Jeremy? And this photo is just a wonderful photo by Diggs to the Buffalo fans. No hate at all towards Buffalo, but just a bad MF picture. And figured what better way to start the week 5 rundown. This play, Denver pretty much gave it to them. The Bengals got hot late, but say whatever you want. I get it. You got to let the guy have a fair catch, but this flipped the script on a lot of things, the game, and then everything that trickles down from that aspect. In my mind, he didn't catch it fairly. He didn't catch it cleanly. My mind does not matter. The NFL has their rules. He shouldn't have taken it away from him. He should have let it hit the ground and be the oblong shape that it is and bounce all around and maybe let Denver get it back, because in the end, Denver got it anyways. The Amari DiMercato, everybody's talking about it. I did not think, he would have the game he did. And this play right here is what gave him the game that he did. And it would have been even better had two things. Nobody knows why. I'm preaching to the choir here and repeating your sounds. Nobody understands why these guys do this. Why do they drop the ball? Why not just carry it into the end zone? And then when you start to see letters underneath your feet, then throw the ball, start to do your dances. That's A. B, as you can see by these shots, he is in possession of the ball, and that ball has crossed the plane. No one ever reviewed it. They never showed this angle again on television. I might be a conspiracy theorist, but this seems fishy, and it doesn't make any sense, really, because was there just a ton of money on Arizona or something? I don't know. It's really weird. I know the coach has to throw the flag to review, but he's clearly over the line, as you can see in this picture, while still in possession of the ball. But still, why even do it that close? It makes no sense. Excuse me, bonehead play. And we'll see how that shakes out for him next week. Carter was the starter. I'm a poet and I know it. But he was terrible. And aside from this run, DiMercato wasn't much better. And had he scored here, then he would have had a really great game. So if you played him, at least you got some good yards. I had to put this here because as I'm watching the Monday night game last night, which I'll talk more about in a minute, I was just thinking to myself, how great would it be to see Tank Bigsby out there really bruise it? Now, Tootin had a couple good runs and a couple good plays, and ETN looks rejuvenated and great this year. But they got rid of Tank Bigsby for him to just die on the Eagles. Now, I know they're playing Thursday night and Barkley's a little banged up. Maybe we'll see him active and doing something. Although A.J. Dillon had a couple good runs this past week. But I'm interested to see if on Thursday Tank Bigsby makes an appearance. They're saying Barkley's fine, but on a short week, this is what you trade for a guy like Tank Bigsby for. So he's not on the 5 guys for your eyes. You can't play him unless they say Barkley's out, of course. But last night just would have been great. And for the Jags to have him, I just feel bad. I'm a big Tank Bigsby fan, and I feel like his career was killed by this trade. He was an ascending player, had a really good year last year after his rookie year. It wasn't too great. And I just feel like it stopped him short, and he's just sitting there basically on a practice squad doing nothing. And it's a shame. I feel bad for guys like that, guys that have proven that they could do things. So, again, he's not making a 5 guys, but keep your eye out, because if this Barkley injury lingers or gets worse, we got to always have him in mind. All of a sudden, Kareem Hunt is a goal line back, and it wasn't just last night. It's been pretty much the last 3 games. In the last 3 games where their offense has really been a lot better as well. They did lose last night, but using him as the goal line back, Pacheco, when you think about Pacheco, what do we think about, right? The psycho runner, savage mauler. And when you think of Kareem Hunt, you think of the little speedy guy, but they're using him at the goal line. Brashard Smith, my guy, could have had a touchdown, got tackled at the 2. That was his only goal line attempt that they gave him throughout the night. They gave him all the Hunt, and Hunt capitalized on him. So if you have Kareem Hunt and they keep doing what they're doing in this situation, he's a goal line back, and he can get you yards between the 20s as well. And it's really kind of odd that he is, because when I think of Kareem Hunt, that's not what I think about. And when I think about this guy, I think about my favorite player in the NFL. If you haven't seen his comment in the tunnel, I absolutely love it. If that's something that offends you, I'm sorry that it does. But if you're going to talk ass with a fan, as a fan, expect to get it talked right back to you. And Baker showed him, and he led another come from behind victory. And final drive, getting the field goal to win it. And on the Saturday night show, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I was a little worried for Baker. So, Baker, this is to you. I will never doubt you again. I do very much so love you. You are my favorite player in the NFL. The Jets. The Jets had 4th and 1. It could have been more, but I counted 4 times in the game. And none of those times did they hand the ball to Breece Hall, who was running extremely well. Why? I wish Rob was here with me, and he wouldn't have the answer, but he might have some sort of something nice to say about his team. But if you have 4th and 1, they converted. Not all of them, but they should have given the ball to Breece Hall. It just doesn't make any sense. You got Breece Hall, who can run people over. You run him when it's 4th and 1. It doesn't make any sense. And to do it 4 times throughout the game and run pass plays and other types of things, it's just like, why? Give it to Breece Hall. Doesn't make any sense. Would it continue drives? The Jets did nothing until the end. I started Justin Fields. He had nothing going for him. He had like 4 points. Then wound up with close to 30, I believe, because he turned it on. We'll talk more about a Jets guy a little later on. In my mind, last night's game was the game of the year, and that right there so far I think is the catch of the year. That's Travis Hunter coming back. It was just incredible. I felt like that game was the best game I've watched all year long. Now, to be fair, I made an executive decision to not watch the Bills and Patriots game Sunday night. I wanted to watch a movie instead. I was in a movie mood. I had watched football all day, and usually I don't get football fatigue, but I had it just a little. I was like, I'm going to watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a while. And I did. It was a really good movie. It's called Bring Her Back. It's a horror movie. It's not super duper scary, but it's a really, really good movie if you've seen it. So yeah, I've seen Bring Her Back. The acting was phenomenal. The story was great. So I didn't watch that game, but I did watch the game last night. And even though that's the one game that I haven't watched all year long, and I'm no longer rewatching games, I just don't have time or the energy to really want to do that, even, which I used to. So I would watch every game essentially 2 times. But, anyways, last night's game was just incredible. Back and forth. Trevor Lawrence looked like an actual quarterback. The play at the end when he fell down, he got back up and he scored a touchdown. I mean, it was just, and on his birthday. And it's against the AFC, they weren't a couple years ago, but AFC champs for the past, 6 years, seems like forever. Just a great game. Signature win by the Jags. Let's get into some of the good things. The good things, we said the guys in green would do good. We said the guys in red would not do good. So these were good calls with Marty and I. That Marty and I said would be pretty good. And I put Ferguson on there because I really, really loved Ferguson. And he came through. I mean, it's a matchup thing, really. The Jets, the Cowboys, that's why Mason Taylor had a good game. The Eagles, they're just against the tight end. Carolina kind of falling into that category. Tight ends just kill them. So keep an eye on that when you're going through and you're making your lineup decisions for the weeks going forward. And it's tried and true. It happens almost every single time, every single year with a particular number of teams. So Christian Kirk, nice to see him. I feel like he's getting a little bit better each way. Pollard was better with Spears there. Diggs, we talked about. JT had a monster day. Njoku was Marty's call. AJ Barner, I talked about him now for 2 years. He had a 2-touchdown game. Bucks might be a team to attack the tight end with. We'll see. But also, that game was just crazy because also Kate Otten came to life. Jamar, Genty, Devontae. I love Devontae with Surtain. Worried about A.J. Brown all day. People are freaking out about A.J. Brown. I was going through all my leagues and today on my break at work and just looking to see who's got A.J. Brown and just trying to see what can I do to pry him away. Because I feel like he's at the lowest of lows at the moment. And a lot of it, he had been coming up a little, and then he had Surtain on him. And that messes things up. Jalen Tolbert, I told you, he does things, and then he just does nothing. So just forget about him. And Judkins looks like the real deal. Dare I say, between him and Genty, there's your top 2 rookie running backs. Solidified roles, of course. The bad. Javonte. He keeps doing it, and I hope the wheels don't fall off. He looks like the dude that I drafted 2-3 years ago in the first round, and everybody called me stupid for it. And he was having a good year. And then he got hurt. And that was the injury that set him back 2 years, essentially. But here he is, killing it. Shaheed had the one play. I still don't care about Shaheed. Bo Nix was off early on for Franklin. Torrey Horton, I thought he would do better. J-Mo did nothing, so I will never go to that well again. But it's coming. J-Mo will have a 2-touchdown game before we know it. I thought Harvey would be a lot more involved. Woody fell off a cliff. I know somebody's got a question about Woody or in conjunction with Woody later. I don't think it changes much of anything. They were able to pass the ball. They were able to get their wide receivers involved. Hutchinson came through. Higgins came through. So Kirk had a nice game. Collins, of course. They were able to get the wide receivers going. Schultz even. So they didn't really have to use Woody in the way where they would in a game that's actually in contention. They just steamrolled Baltimore, like I said they would. I actually should have had Baltimore in Houston. Did I have them on this one? I know, but I should have had Houston on there on the good one. And McConkey, you know what? I thought McConkey would have done better. That's why I put an asterisk next to his name. Um, he had a serviceable game, maybe his first one of the year. But yeah, I thought he would have done better. The Chargers looked like they were still reverberating from the loss 2 weeks ago. And the ugly. Isaiah Bond, he's got an asterisk. I can't even speak. And the reason he has that is because he was wide open twice in the end zone, and Dylan Gabriel threw two of the worst throws he threw all game to him. He could have easily had 2 touchdowns, and that would have came through for me. We talked about DeMarcado. Even though he did score a touchdown before it fell out of his hands, I will die saying that because he did. Still, why do you do things like that? Dowdle continuing to get it done, and JCM, and we'll talk about him as well in a minute. And it's all that needs to happen with all these rookie guys. Like you see it. I talked about with Judkins and I talked about with Genty. They get the majority of the touches, they produce. They get the majority to JCM, he produces. Last week, 2 weeks ago, week 4, they gave the majority of the touches to Woody. And look what he did. When they start switching things up or they don't have to give it to the running back that much, that's what's going to kill us. So we look at it as, I don't want to take the question away before we get to it, but you look at it as is this a mirage type of thing? Well, no, this is what it will be when they're in a game where it needs to be. And I think somebody replied to the question that we'll get to in a minute. It's all about matchups. It's all about matchups. So it's like anything. It's a game of probability. That's what fantasy football is. Will things probably happen? Yes. But even if something is 75% or even 90% probable, there is always a chance that it won't. And that's why we love this game and that's why we hate it. So you can make the right call and play the wrong guy. You're playing probability. Sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor, and we just have to live with that. We just have to try and pick the spots and take a guess at what they're going to be. First question. Jason said advice needed, full PPR, wide receiver, pick 3. Drake versus Buffalo, Tet versus Dallas. I'm going to go with Drake, Tet, and McConkey. I think Terry McLaurin's going to be back. I know the matchup is good, but I feel like his last couple of weeks without Terry, he's really done a lot better. And I think with Terry there, it's going to take a little bit away. The Drake game will be back and forth. Tet, I don't think you could sit him, especially against Dallas. And I think that McConkey is just going to get going started. Miami is a cake matchup. I guess the only one that could be flip-flopped is Debo and McConkey, but I'm going to go back to the well and just stick with McConkey with McLaurin coming back. RB pick 2 only. Gibbs, Walker versus Jax, ETN versus Seattle, Scatabo. I think I'm going to go with Scatabo on Thursday. Philly can be run on. And I don't think I can take Gibbs out of my lineup. So I'm going to go with Gibbs and Scatabo. I know ETN looked really good last night, but I do respect and do think Seattle is one of, if not the best defense in the league, even though they give up a ton of points to my boy Baker. Tight end, pick 1 only. Kraft versus Cincy or Waller versus the Chargers. I'm going to go with Kraft. But I will say this. The Waller, the Miami and Chargers game will be a little more competitive, I think, even with Joe Flacco there for Cincy. But I think he does help them. So I can't look at this as Cincy of the past 4 weeks with Browning or past 3 weeks. So I'm going to say Kraft because I do think Cincy we'll be able to move the ball a little bit. I know Green Bay's defense is good, but we saw they can give up a ton of points too. The obvious question: upgrade all Bengals. What a nice segue. I would say yeah. Browning looked terrible. The whole team did. His first start was a little better last 2 weeks ago, and last week, this past week, again, didn't look great. So I would say yes. I think Flacco will be an upgrade. The only problem is he's a statue. He's a statue. So if teams get after him and make him move out of the pocket, we saw him run, I think, once or twice last year, and it was like had the announcers cracking up laughing. I think yes, it's an upgrade to make the answer easy. Huge trade question. Huge, Tom. I'm 3-2 in a 10 team. That's a good spot to be. Do I make this deal for Genty? You send Herbert, Jalen Warren, Shakir, and Dowdle, Genty, Harvey, Myers, and Mac Jones. Well, Mac Jones, or is that Daniel? If it's Mac Jones, I mean, no, because, well, Purdy could be in and out, so maybe. You'd be losing Herbert, though. Does this quarterback become your starter? I can't even ask you because you're anonymous. I do like the Harvey pickup. You'd be losing at wide receiver. Myers has just sort of disappeared, and I know the Raiders have looked not great, and Genty's taken it over. I don't like you taking 2 Raiders here. I would like another quarterback or another wide receiver. So your team is currently okay. So Daniel, so who cares about the quarterback swap? Jacobs and Chase. All right. So getting Genty. So you have Jacobs and Genty. That's pretty nice. You have Harvey for a bye week. Jacobs already had his, but you are improving at running back. I know you're giving up Dowdle, but I think you're trading him high, which is a good thing. I know he was okay last year, but I mean, this game was against Miami. So let's not forget that. Egbuka is your only other wide receiver. That can't be. You got 2 wide receivers. I'll look at your bench in a minute. I see Dobbs. So you'll just have Dobbs and Egbuka will be your only 2. Am I correct? I think so. Drake London. Okay. Yeah, you're good. I would do this. You're getting rid of Jalen Warren. That's okay. Not great, but you need Harvey. You're getting rid of a guy that's already had his bye week, which is one thing I usually try and trade for. I want to trade for a guy that already had his bye, so I know I'm not missing out on any points the rest of the season. So I like your wide receiver or your running back upgrade, but I feel like you need Harvey to pop sooner than later. And if he does, I think you win this. However, again, the only thing really holding me up, I don't care about the quarterbacks. You're going to use Daniels when you can, is Myers. I don't want Jacoby Myers. I know that he had a good solid week 1. He's sort of disappeared, and it worries me with Geno being the quarterback. If you can get another wide receiver, I don't know who you are, but if you could, make another post. Is JCM the guy now? Or is this a weekly back and forth BS like Woody Marks? If RBs aren't injured, they're underperforming. Yeah, I talked about it. It's matchups. And it's 2 and 3 and 4 headed backfields. And that's what both of these guys are a part of. They're also both rookies, and they're rookies that were not drafted to be the guy out of the gate. Genty was drafted to be the guy out of the gate. Judkins was drafted to be the guy out of the gate. JCM was not. Neither was Woody Marks. But they are the guy. And we said this on the Saturday show. I mean, the coaches flat out said JCM is the best running back we have that could play all 3 downs. And then they went ahead and they did what they did. So going forward, yeah, but you got to tread lightly. You play the matchups. And it's the same exact thing with Woody Marks. They didn't need Woody Marks to do Woody Marks things. They really didn't. Stroud was finally on target. He was hitting every single wide receiver. They were scoring big touchdowns. it's just probability. It just didn't work out for Woody. It is what it is. Here are the week 6 lookers. 5 guys for your eyes. Josue, I'll get to your question in just 1 minute. Number 5, bit of a layup, but if for whatever reason he was not drafted in your league, maybe in a short league, or he was dropped when the suspension came out, and he's just been sitting out there, he's coming back in week 7, which is going to be here before we know it. And I know my boy Tyquan Thornton continued to catch passes last night, but he did it early and then he sort of disappeared. He's still kind of the Hail Mary, I need something guy. And that's even kind of what he was last night. Worthy is the number 1 there, but Worthy got banged up in the game. So I would imagine at some point this season, Worthy's probably going to go down again. Rice is their number 1. Heading into the season, last year, I felt the same way. He was leading the NFL the first 4 weeks as a wide receiver before he got hurt. And then, or whether he got hurt or he got suspended, I think he got hurt, and then he got suspended while he was hurt on IR. I don't remember exactly, but I believe he got hurt. But either way, he was leading the NFL. He's their number 1. If he's sitting out there, you get him now, because pretty soon after week 6, all the fantasy media, the pros, the people that get paid to do this, we're going to start talking about him. Make sure you go out and get Rice this week. He's coming back week 7. So do it now. Do it now. Here we go again. Kimani Vidal, right? Hampton out. Next man up, of course. They got some burn last week, finally. Looked okay. So, Kimani Vidal, here we go again. I could put him on here because he was a bridge bonus. He was not a 5 guy for your eye this season, but now he is, number 4. Number 3, Joe Flacco. Why not? Because why not? You need a quarterback. Maybe your guy's on bye this week. Maybe you only have 1. Why not? It's a decent matchup, decent enough. Green Bay, they gave up a ton of points. Why not? They got a ton of good weapons. They got 4 tight ends they use. Number 2, Jalen Wright. He's a Miami Dolphins running back for now. I get a feeling he gets traded. I think he's going to get traded relatively soon, definitely before the deadline. They really like Ollie as their number 2 that they drafted this year. Wright was a draft pick last year, was out early with injuries. Achane, of course, is the guy. I think they trade him. There's a lot of teams that could use a running back like Jalen Wright, and he's just sitting out there on waivers. And if you got room and you don't need somebody, I think now is the time you get him. But you're probably going to have to hold him for like 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know exactly when the deadline is, but look it up, and that's how many weeks you have to wait. But I think nobody's really paying attention to the fact that he was active. He did nothing. And then last week he was just inactive. And usually that's a sign of, all right, we just got to keep this guy healthy. I know some teams try and put a guy out there to show him off. I thought maybe it was the opposite, but I don't think a trade's going to happen now. Unless it happens tonight or tomorrow. But I would say over the next couple weeks, his name is going to start to get hyped up, and especially with all these running backs going down. And the number 1, Arian Smith for the New Jersey Jets, wide receiver. Their wide receiver 2 is Josh Reynolds. And I feel like Smith, who's a 4th round draft pick, I think. 4th. I think so. I feel like he is nothing but speed. And I know they have nothing but speed really at quarterback, and they got speed with Brees once he gets through. But I feel like once he really gets even more and more acclimated, I think he was an All-American, I want to say, a couple of years ago in college. Georgia he played for. Once he gets a little more acclimated, I could see him taking over that number 2. He's their number 3. He's already like their slot guy, but Josh Reynolds likes the slot. So over the coming weeks, the Jets really need a number 2. They need somebody. I thought it would be Tyler Johnson because of what I saw in week 1. It seemed like Fields really liked him. Then when Fields went out and got hurt, Tyler Johnson sort of went to the wasteland. But Arian Smith, the rookie, is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. He's getting more and more playing time. It hasn't really amounted to great production, but he's a name that you need to know, especially if you're a little thin on wide receivers going into the bye weeks and again with all these injuries. The bridge bonus, I don't know why it's still on there, but I thought I got rid of that slide, but I guess I didn't. So this is my game book, I guess. Thursday, we have the Eagles at the Giants. The line is 6.5, over under 40.5. Sounds about right. The Giants have been deceivingly playing better, but then they go ahead and do what they did last week. The Eagles with Barkley a little banged up. I'm liking A.J. Brown in this one. And that's why I want to try and go after him tonight when I get off the air and see if I can pry him away from somebody, because I would need the trade to go through for Thursday so I could use him. They're playing in New Jersey, as you can see the picture there. For the Giants, I think you got to keep going with Scatterbo. If you got him on your team, he's obviously been killing the ball or killing people, running them over. You see him pancake that one dude he was blocking. Dude's 3 times his size. Put him on his butt. So you keep going with him. I'm still thinking sooner or later, Jalen Hyatt, maybe he does it on national TV. Will do something. Please, can you do something? Because if you don't do anything now with Neighbors out, you're screwed. That's the problem. These guys, they used both tight ends last week. No Neighbors, so Theo Johnson went off, and Rob's boy from a couple years ago, Daniel Bellinger. The Eagles are a team you can throw against with a tight end. So if you're really stuck at tight end, of course, I like Theo. I would rather play him over Bellinger. Theo will be used throughout the field. Bellinger is usually a little close, even though he caught a big one last game. Nothing too spectacular here. I don't like when a team is in between +6 and +10 at home. Keep an eye, if you're looking to take a side on this one, keep an eye on Barkley. Let's see if Tank Bigsby plays. I think the Eagles win this one, coming off of last week's debacle, so to speak. And play your normal guys, which you have in my mind really just one giant, which is the reason I think the Eagles can handle this. I know they got a bunch of little guys, but if Jalen Hyatt doesn't show up and show out, I mean, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? Get rid of him. Oh, this one first. Jeremy had football fatigue. He wasn't feeling most of the games. Well, it was the first time, like, with a bye, so you had less games. I think there were 6 early on, and 4 of them were blowouts. They were fun. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the 4 o'clocks. Just came to nighttime, and I was just like, I feel like watching a movie. And I have to take advantage of times like that because I have so few opportunities, and I love scary movies. Woody's going on a bye after a really good game and a low-key game. This would make his next game a 50. I don't think so. Again, he's a rookie that was not drafted to be the guy, a rookie that is sharing with at least a couple other mouths. You're going to get boom games and you're going to get bust games. He's a bye week filler for now. That's all he is. That's all you really should need him for as well. You're 2 and 3 and you need help now, I feel. No, you don't. 2 and 3 is fine. 2 and 3 is fine. We talked about this, I feel like, every year. I mean, if you were 1 and 4 at this point, you're not even dead. 0 and 5, if you're getting smoked, then you got to worry. If your team's putting up points and you're 2 and 3, you're good. Should you trade away Rice? Okay, so I was just saying to get Rice, you have Odunze, which is solid, Nico, Quentin Johnston, Rice. See, this is what I like. If you're starting 3 wide receivers, 2 weeks from now, Rice is playing, and you got Odunze, Nico Collins, and Rashee Rice. I just think that's beautiful. Now I'm looking at your running backs. You got Bucky on IR for a few weeks with Benson. Tucker is worthless. Pacheco, he looked really good last night. I'll say that. He was fired up. Henderson, who they don't use. Carter. All right, if you're trading Rice, you better be getting a running back. You better be getting a really good running back. That's what I got to say. I mean, you could somebody must be interested, Josue, in Rice. because what I would be doing is try and trade away Quentin Johnston. He continues to have relatively good games. I trade him away. But if you want to trade Rice, then you got to do what you want to do. But you better get a good running back. Kamara is running on fumes. Carter is nothing. Henderson, they don't use him enough, but they will now because Gibson's not there. He's basically going to go into the Gibson role, which would be a good thing. Pacheco, we're waiting for the demise, and he gets vultured at the goal line. Tucker did nothing. I should have had him on the good calls because I said you want nothing to do with him, and he did nothing. Benson will be back, but we'll have to see how that goes. You need a running back. I think you're aware of that. You say you're 10th place out of 12. If you can get a solid running back, maybe show what the team who's interested in Rice has. But you've been here for years. You're a pretty good fantasy player without us. So I think that you will be able to do that. But if that's what you had in mind, maybe you can trade Rice and, I don't know, maybe you can get rid of Carter while he is just sitting around, or Kamara, and trade him on name value, and get yourself a really good running back and another wide receiver to fill that void. Because there will be, I know Dunze had his, but Nico's going on bye, so you're going to need something. And I think that's it. That's it. That's all we got. See, that's why I want to come on quick, 30 minutes, speed round. If there are no more questions, I'm going to go upstairs and take a guess at what I'm going to do. Two things. One, I already told you, try and get A.J. Brown wherever I can. Two, watch a scary movie. It's that time of the year, folks. If you don't watch scary movies, you should. They're a lot of fun. Weapons was really good. I actually watched it 4 days in a row. It was that good. I just think it was a perfectly done movie. It wasn't really scary. Just a great story, and the way that the story was told, I thought was excellent. So, good luck Thursday. Play your normals. Scatabo is about as far as I would go. Theo Johnson. I'm not a bologna sandwich, Wan'Dale Robinson guy. You're obviously not playing Jalen Hyatt. He really shouldn't even be owned. But if they use him, I think he'll do something. But you're not going to use them. So have a good night. We will see you. We'll see what happens. I think we have another early Sunday game, so it'll probably be Saturday night. Best of luck.